Good evening, everyone. Evelyn, can you please do roll call?
Trustee Weekly,
Present.
trustee McAvoy,
Present.
trustee Wells,
Here.
vice president Lawson,
Here.
president Marcus.
Here, thank you. Good evening, everyone. Again, welcome to another Redwood City School District board meeting. Si requiere interpretación al español, por favor llame al 978-990-5137 y presione el número 8377-041 y el símbolo de número para la contraseña. If you're speaking to the board, the public is encouraged to speak to the board on issues of concerns, whether or not the issues are on the agenda. To address the board, please complete a speaker's card if you are in person and a Google form if you are online. If you wish to speak to the board on a subject listed on the agenda, you will be called to the podium at the time that the item is being considered by the board. If the item is not on the agenda, you will be called to the podium during oral communication. Public comments are limited to 3 minutes per person per topic unless otherwise noted. And are there any changes to the agenda? Great, thank you. Hearing none, moving on to item 4, approval of the agenda. Can I please get a motion to approve?
I'll move to approve.
A second.
All those in favor? Aye, thank you. Do we have any oral communication?
No oral communication.
Thank you. Now moving on to bond program action items. 6.1, discussion and approval of final project list.
Hi, guys. Can you guys hear me?
Affirmative.
Okay, awesome. Thank you, guys. So one quick note before we dive into this discussion. There was one project that was approved by the bond team, a safety-related project that we were hoping would be on the agenda tonight with this item. But we did not receive the proposal from the contractor in time to make the front load deadline. So that's a project at Haas, electrified door gates at both sides of the Haas campus with intercoms for access. So that project will be coming back. We do have the pricing now from the contractor, and that'll be coming to the next board meeting. So that project is currently budgeted for and would not be a part of the $800,000 discussion, but I did want to mention that that will be coming to the next board meeting. And so now to jump in to the discussion, as noted, there is approximately $800,000 left in the board reserve that needs to be committed to final projects. And so we have one small project that's been prioritized, the McKinley Theater lighting technology upgrade project. It's approximately $50,000. We do have accurate pricing and would be ready to move on this project if you guys approve this one to proceed. So that's the only kind of developed project on this list. The two other projects, EV chargers, we estimated approximately $15,000 per charging port. It would depend on the location of the chargers, the distance to, the nearest electrical tie-in and the site work required. But the thought here is that multiple sites have EV chargers. I believe 7 of your sites have EV chargers. And so there would be an opportunity to do, anywhere from like 2 to 4 or any number of EV chargers that you guys would desire at the sites that do not yet have EV chargers if you wanted to proceed in that manner. So if you guys were interested in proceeding with EV chargers, we could look at the specific sites and better understand, what would be required, the most efficient location for those EV chargers, and then could bring back proposals to execute at those sites. The last item on the list that has been tracked for, I think, like 3 or 4 years now, solar. this one, this item and all of our past discussions on, remaining funding, has been kicked down to the bottom of the list, but I'm going to get into some detail on this one, and the clock is kind of ticking to execute on these projects. So here, let me get my details. You have 12 sites remaining that do not yet have solar, if you consider McKinley and North Star to be a single site. And so all 12 of the sites do have solar interconnection applications that have been approved by PG&E. And so what those do is the approved interconnection applications have grandfathered the district in to the financially preferable net energy metering 2 rate. It's called NEM 2. So we completed those applications and got approval from PG&E, I believe about a year ago, to ensure that the district was grandfathered into this rate, knowing the direction that things are going with solar and PG&E. And so the district has 2.5 years left to complete any of these approved solar projects before you would lose the grandfathering, and the rate thereafter, it would decrease the financial benefit of doing solar if you got kicked to the next rate structure, and it would decrease the financial benefit by approximately 40%. And so all that being said, we have looked at doing district-wide solar on all remaining sites, and a very high-level estimated project cost to do all sites would be approximately $17 million, and that's full project cost, state permitting, management, legal, all in. And so that would fully offset your remaining 12 sites to approximately 95% offset. And so a very high level estimate of the system payback period, if you were to proceed with solar, would be approximately 10 years. And if you were interested in going down this path, we want to take some time to tighten in the numbers and do a deeper financial study. But we just looked at your most recent RCSD monthly PG&E bill, and last month was $250,000. We are seeing that the sites that you have done solar at, we offset those to about 95% earlier on in the program. Selby, Clifford, Roosevelt in the district office, and we're seeing that those sites are nearly $0 on the bill. I think they're anywhere from like $100 to around $1,000, if that. And so one other thing that comes into play when looking at doing solar, there's a government tax credit that's available through the Inflation Reduction Act. And that actually would allow the district to recoup 30% of the total project cost. And so that would be 30% of approximately $17 million. And so that would be one other advantage if you guys did want to proceed in this way. We worked hard to ensure that all of the Measure T new construction and modernization projects met eligibility criteria for state funding reimbursement. And so in addition to this approximate $800,000 that we're discussing tonight, the district is expecting approximately $15 million back in reimbursement funding that could be available for spending by the end of the calendar year. So there would be an opportunity to proceed and fund a full district-wide solar project if you guys were interested. So if interested, we could take a deeper dive into this, study it, come back with a more accurate pro forma, more refined financial analysis, and planning could begin immediately. So and then noting that these solar projects are pretty quick. You use a DSA pre-approved structure, and so these could be executed in the next year or two if you guys wanted to proceed. So just wanted to give you guys some information on solar and kind of open the discussion. I also wanted to ask all board members if there are any other potential projects that you might want to consider for this list or for discussion. So I'll stop speaking now.
Thank you, Will. Go ahead.
Hi, Will. Thank you for all that information. So a couple of questions. When you said the PG&E bill was about 250,000 last month, do you know how much that was a gas and how much was electrical? Because I'm just trying to figure out what the electrical piece of that was, just to do some rough calculations. But I mean, it's $3 million a year total for the PG&E bill, which is a lot out of the general fund. So that's a huge savings that could go for educational programs, which would be awesome, and salaries and other great things. So, even if it was half of that, it's still 1.5 million, which is a lot of money. So we don't necessarily need that today, but I just want, that's sort of a question I have. And then I was curious on the $15 million reimbursement. Does that have to be used for solar projects, or can that
Nope.
be? Okay.
That does not have to be used for solar projects. It's a reimbursement, to the Measure T program. And so it could be used for anything that would fit within that verbiage.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And
Yes.
also I have the bill that Rick's team sent through a couple days ago, and it's looking like this is quoting just the electrical portion, but I would want to confirm that on the 250,000. So
Yeah, so I think you've known I've been a longtime advocate of more solar, and I do want us to go renewable as much as we can. I also want to offset the general fund as much as we can. I mean, at $3 million a year, that is huge. That would be super helpful, because we know we're looking for dollars everywhere right now. So yeah, for me, I mean, I'd love to hear my other colleagues, but for me, I would love to see a more thorough analysis, because, you were sort of dropping a bunch of numbers to
Yep.
kind of look at, like, what would the time frame be? Can we do it in a reasonable amount of time to kind of wrap up the Measure T program? You said this money is coming in, just all of that, like what it would look like. And then, of course, we'd have to mesh that with our Measure S program and just make sure whatever we're doing, we're not going to be tearing down that building or something like that, right? So we just have to be cautious about that and see if the timing works. I also, we personally have solar on our home now, and so we're under that rate. And when I was looking at the new rate, I was like, oh my gosh, for individuals or for businesses, it's not going to pencil out in the same way that it has for us. So same with the school district, right? So it sounds like we have 2.5 years. So if there's any way we could do it, it would work out better in Measure T than Measure S, because we had talked about that was still one of the items for a possible program under Measure S, but timing wise, it would be better to do it if we could. So anyway, that's my thinking. My only other thought I wanted to say is I'm an advocate for the $50,000 for the McKinley Theater, assuming that we think that's a good project. I know that a lot of our kids are there, doing performances. Both MIT and North Star use it pretty regularly for assemblies. We use it as a district a lot for bigger meetings. So anyway, I'd be an advocate for that. That's just 50,000. So, okay, I'll stop.
And thanks. And Alicia, just one note, that the 2.5 years is a completed project. And so that's, getting through state permitting process, executing and completing the build.
Yeah, we would have to expedite this. Right. But, Measure T was pretty successful in doing things rapidly once we made a decision. So anyway.
I'd be a huge fan. I mean, this is an investment for the district that will pay itself back versus a depreciating asset, which would be fantastic. So I would love if we could pencil this out a little bit more. My suspicion is that if we include in projection of increasing PG&E rates, because they aren't getting any cheaper. If you take a look at the last decade or so of cost per kilowatt hour, it's been pretty tremendous. My suspicion is we're going to see payback periods well under 10 years, actually. I'd be interested in whether or not that quote of 17 million for full project cost includes batteries. My assumption is not.
It does not.
Yeah, so that could be an interesting thing for us to consider as part of Measure S, to both give us a chance to do offsetting to peak periods, generally by about 4 hours or so, as well as to give us the ability to operate the campuses when there's a grid outage, which we, just so members of the public know, not everybody knows this, if you have solar but don't have batteries and there's a grid outage, you also lose power at the site. That's due to a electrical artifact called anti-islanding. But if you have a battery setup, it's possible to go and run off of solar plus the battery even when the grid is down. I know we had a number of grid outages that impacted instruction last year. And so getting to be insulated against that would be very desirable. So even if we have to do as a 1-2 punch where we first do solar and then Measure S, we look at adding batteries, I want to make sure that the way that we went about installing solar anticipated the installation of batteries at minimal additional cost versus having to do rework. But I'm very enthusiastic. Also, I was a theater kid, so thumbs up.
I agree with what they both said in thinking that solar is good. I think that, the next decade is going to be about climate proofing schools. It actually today is about climate proofing schools. We already have seen the impacts of so much of the climate change that's going on. And decarbonizing is definitely a part of that. And so solar, anticipating batteries, electrical appliances, I think is, a good direction for us to go. And of course, I've spent many shows at the MIT Theater, so I definitely support that as well. And to Will's last question, I have not heard of other requests. I don't know if anyone else did. No.
Oh. Add tetherball to the list.
Ditto what everyone else said. I'll just add, Mike, as you were talking about climate proofing our schools, with Measure S, we're talking about adding air conditioning and HVAC. So all the more reason to offset some of those costs. So, yep.
And then I won't repeat, same here, but I do want to touch base on one of the items here, which is the EV charging stations. I had asked some questions, and thank you, Will and Martin, for answering that. And so my thing with the EV chargers is like, yes, I understand they're important, but really obviously would be like, what are we actually doing for the classroom, for the school, for the district? So that to me would be kind of in the back burner. So I just want to throw it out there. I'm all for solar. It's expensive, but at the long run, the district will be saving money that can then the general fund go again back to the classrooms, races like you mentioned. And so, yeah.
And I'll just mention that the sites that have the 20+ EV chargers in it was through PG&E grant funding and whatnot.
And
so
I think we'll see more.
Right. And so I agree. I'd rather see, like, this would be my lowest priority. Because I think that we will see more grant options, and I would rather see that money going into the classrooms.
Yeah, and it's also like it's a power draw, so it's going to be an ongoing source of expenditure for us. So we're spending money to spend money versus the solar stuff is spending money to save money. So I have a lot less enthusiasm for the EV thing, even though I have an EV, I love EVs. That problem is getting solved outside of the campus, and modern EVs have sufficient range to be, even with a reasonable commute, to be able to charge at home, use superchargers and other charging stations. So I don't think that becomes critical apparatus for the district to provide. So yeah, I agree with it being low priority.
And I do want to note, based on Janet's comment, I do believe from some recent discussions with PG&E reps that there are now additional EV charging infrastructure grants. Back when we took advantage of, I think we got somewhere between $3 to $5 million worth of infrastructure grant money from PG&E for the initial 4 sites. But they required you to do near 20 per site, and the district, we did take advantage of some really good rebates and incentives, but the district, was required to pay for the charger portion of that. I'm not sure how that program looks now, but that's something that you guys could look into as well. So yeah, understood.
So actually one other, Will, I don't know if you've heard of this, but I thought I read somewhere recently that there was going to be grant funding available for solar over parking lots. It wasn't school specific, but it was statewide. And I don't think that's started to roll out yet, but I just bring that up that maybe we could do a little research on that. There may be
Yeah.
some opportunities similar to what we did here, where we got some rebates back from the state. Or I don't know exactly how it works, but I know I read it. But are you familiar with this?
I'm not, but you know, what I'm hearing is that you guys want us to dig in a little bit more. So we actually
again,
did
and
like
I'll try to see if I can find that resource that I read about.
we did a full schematic design of solar district wide when we did the original cost estimate. Elisa, back when I believe you brought it up initially a few years ago. And so that work has been done. And we recently just took a quick pass at updating that cost estimate at a high level. Solar prices are increasing quickly. And so a lot of the work has been done. So what I'm hearing is that you want me to re-engage with our energy consultant. And when I do that, our energy consultant was the one that helped identify that big tax credit as well, the 30% tax credit on total project cost. So I can dig in with them on that and find out if there are any other grants, rebates, incentives available to help further offset this and, you know, potentially free up more of that, you know, state money for other discussions. So what I'm hearing is proceed with the McKinley Theater lighting technology upgrades project, and then dig in a little bit more on solar and try to come back ASAP to kind of report back on how that would look.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Would you like a motion on that? I think we need a motion and
Please.
Oh, yes, go ahead, Rick.
What you're referring to with solar over parking lots is Senate Bill 49 that was signed by.
There it is.
Okay.
Yeah,
great.
yeah.
Yeah, so we need to dig into that as part of this. Senate Bill 49.
Thank you, Becker.
Yes, yes. Okay, I bet I read it in Becker's weekly that he sends out. Okay, that's right. I was like, where did I read this? Okay, good. Thanks.
Awesome. Well, yeah, we'll dig in on that and
Okay.
report back soon.
So I'll make a motion to approve the $50,000 for McKinley's lighting. And then also for you to do some more research on the solar, so we can move towards addressing solar at the 12 sites that do not have solar. And you'll come back with a proposal around that. I don't know if you need more detail than that in the motion. Is that good enough?
And come back with the quote on the tetherball.
Oh,
I think.
yeah, and a quote on the tether, and we'd like a quote on the tetherball too.
Second that motion.
Great. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Just to clarify, is the tetherball serious, or what sites would that be?
That's
What
Adelante.
quantity?
It's an Adelante Selby will.
Because it
Okay.
had been removed at one point.
Oh, okay, just do
Yeah,
it.
so when
Putting
we
the
put in
tetherball back
solar-
in at Selby.
Right, so it really is part of Measure T because it was taken out when we
The
put in the solar, which we all wanted to do. So it's probably a
Okay.
minimal cost, but it would be nice to get back.
Do you want us to bring that back or just get a proposal and bring the proposal back to the board?
Just to bring the proposal back.
Okay, awesome. Okay, that should be quick and easy. We're on it.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
So, well, we're just laughing because Adelante Selby is here because they're giving a presentation next. So they're
Oh, okay.
looking into all this.
Got it. Okay, perfect. Anything else on this item or anything else related to the bond program? Any questions?
No, thank you very much again.
All right, thank you, guys.
So moving on to item 7, school and community reports, Adelante Selby and Roy Cloud school presentation for the 23-24 school year.
So I'd like to introduce, we're going to have Mr. Warren Cedar, all three of you speaking?
Yeah.
So Mr. Warren Cedar for Adelante Selby to showcase their school tonight, and Patricia Alcocer, as well as Jose Luna, the community school service. So there's a clicker. And make sure,
And there's the button, Warren, the button.
you have to turn on the button,
on the
Warren.
right, just press it. Button on the right. There you go. He still will.
How's it go back? Oh, great. Okay, good evening. Warren Cedar. I'm the very proud director of Adelante Selby Spanish Immersion School. We are the Alebrijes. If I click this, we have 4 slides and 15 minutes to paint a little picture about why we have such a great school, and it's a great place to learn in 2 languages and a great place for our students and families to engage. I'm going to go over this first slide on academics. And we are a 2-way Spanish immersion program, a 90-10 model. So students come in kinder and TK, immersed in Spanish 90% of the day, the language of instruction 10% English. As they move up in the grade levels by 4th and 5th grade, it becomes 50-50. And our ultimate goal is that all of our students are fully bilingual and biliterate, gaining the cognitive advantages of being bilingual and biliterate, being able to read and write in both languages, get the cognitive advantages. So our tagline is, we are very proud to be bilingual and our hearts beat in 2 languages. So our program delivery models, there's a lot of stuff going on in academics, but a couple things to highlight are our thematic units, integrated units, which started as a way to teach English language learners language, but it's also great for students that don't know Spanish to learn Spanish. Teaching thematic units, social studies and science, 6 to 8 week long units, teaching academic vocabulary, using different and effective strategies. In the upper right, you can see students in a 1st grade classroom using a sentence patterning chart, drawing labels, chants. In the lower left here, next to the parachute, students are in a dramatic play center. And I love this picture. This is a now and long ago social studies unit where they're comparing now and long ago. And the student with the telephone there, that's considered long ago ancient history, a dial-up telephone, which is kind of funny. And it looks like they're playing, but they're using language, right, in the theme. So developing schema, we think that's important and effective. It's has research behind it, so we continue to do that. We've started 3 years ago with the work with NUA. Now it's morphed into using pedagogy of confidence with Whitney, not Houston, Whitney Eakin, who's a wonderful TOSA for our district. She has been amazing. She comes every Wednesday. There's a sign-up sheet for our teachers to have demo lessons, to co-teach with her. She can plan with them. In that lower right corner is one of our first faculty meetings this year. She's going over how to do frames, how to do frames for our faculty. It's just been a great model to implement those thinking strategies and students making connections to what they're reading, to what they're writing, to their world, to what they're seeing around them. So we continue to do that. New this year, and there's a lot of news this year, starting off with the Science of Reading and the California Reading Literacy Project work out of UC Berkeley. We've all been trained a couple of days, lots of training. So upper left, they're in slide of teachers in training around phonics instruction in English. Now, ironically, we're Spanish immersion, right? Spanish is phonetic. So we've been teaching it phonics all along, especially in the K2 grade levels. That's nothing new for us. What is new is we're using Aprendo a Leer, which is our former RSP teacher, who's now the district-wide coach, developed this series of how to read and write in Spanish. That's what we're using. But what has informed our work for the English part of the day is this phonics. So more there's a phonics time of the day and how to teach it specifically. So we've moved from the Fontes and Benel leveled readers to more stages of reading and teaching, giving assessments like FastBridge, the basic phonics skills test, BPST, lots of acronyms in education, to identify needs, and they'll do a whole group lesson on a specific area that they see that is a need of the classroom, and then pull their small groups. So we have Maestra Nell there in the upper left, doing a small group reading lesson with a small group of students, phonics based lesson. And I encourage you to go back and click on that link. I don't know if it's live for you as the board members to see it, where it says CRLP phonics work, because we label the different stages of the lesson, so you get a little bit of flavor of it. So that's been a lot and will continue to be a lot. It's an adaptation at our school site and all the schools. Another big one is illustrative math, or illustrative math, depending on how you pronounce it. So illustrative math is a big shift for us, and the picture of in purple there where it says problem-based teaching and learning is trying to illustrate the difference in the lesson delivery. So I'm old school. I come from explicit direct instruction, where it's I do as the teacher. Here's the math problem. This is how I'm going to explain how to solve it in the different steps and give you a couple samples. And you're my class. Then we're going to do a couple of problems together, the we do. And then I'm going to say, okay, now you're ready to do it on your own. And then I'm going to come around and help you, or I'll pull a small group. That's kind of what all of our veteran teachers are used to teaching. This model is different. You can see it here. The teacher in the warm-up invites the students to the problem. They show that they display the problem. Now it's you do. It's not I'm doing it. I'm not showing you how to do it. You think about it. You figure out the problem. Then I'm going to give you go talk to the person next to you, or whoever your partner is. You're going to talk together. And I'm, as a teacher, going around facilitating in your collaborations, encouraging you to talk about how you're solving the problem. Then those few students are going to make a bigger group. There are going to be 4 of you. And I'm walking around encouraging that conversation on how to solve the problem. Then that last bit there, I'll just walk over to it. Because I can't point. In this area is where the teacher is bringing them all together, and we're synthesizing at that point. So they're making connections between their learning and clarifying how to solve the problem. They release them to a few activities, do a closure, and then they're doing math games. So you can see a couple pictures here from this year. The round table, they're doing a math game. Below the sentence patterning chart, they're talking about how to solve the problem. So you kind of get a flavor of it. So I really want to applaud my staff, my teachers, for their dedication, hard work, and willingness to try something new, because it's not easy. It's a big shift for all of us. So with all that, next Wednesday, we will have our first training on a new designated ELD supplementary program, is Language Power. So lots of changes. That's kind of the new thing this year. And by the way, our student-led conferences this week is another big change. So far, so good. I sent a picture to Dr. Baker of one of the conferences. It's been going well, but lots of change this year. And finally, I just wanted to highlight some of our enrichment. Thank you to the LCAP and I guess the voters, Prop 28, for funding the other half of our STEAM teacher. So that's a full-time position now. So you can see students here with the yellow boxes in the middle right, I guess, of the screen there. They're programming or coding their Lego Spike robots. That is very popular, engaging. Students love going to STEAM. And we also have a music teacher now funded through Prop 28. And that's been going great as well. We have a great music teacher. And then we've been fortunate as a school community to have a wonderful PTO, Unidos, that funds dance and a garden program. So students get a really great enrichment program at our school. And a great partnership also, I would say, with Peninsula Covenant Church for PE Plus. So they have PE twice a week. So I don't know how I did on my time, but next up is Miss Patricia Alcocer, who's she's wonderful to work with. It doesn't, you have to do it, Anna. Yep. Huh?
Oh, no.
Oh, no, we're-
You got it. Okay. Good evening, everyone. I'm delighted to be able to give you an overview of the school events that are happening on our campus that engage our community partners, and creating traditions that are crucial to fostering a sense of community, and also help us learn about the different cultures at our school. So some of the photo highlights that we have here, they're highlighting all of the school events, and these are only a few. We do have the link, so I hope that you go on there and click. It gives a little bit more insight to our events that are on our campus. So being a Spanish immersion school, language is a huge part of culture. So at our school, we celebrate Dia del Niño and Dia de los Muertos, which are traditional celebrations in Latin America. During our Dia del Niño celebration, which happens in April, we have high school students, we have parents, our community partners volunteering. We have students that are showcasing their talent in our talent show. And then the biggest fundraiser during that day is when Warren and I get to be dunked in the dunk tank. We usually raise a good chunk of change for our outdoor ed and our Columbia field trips. Our annual science fair and STEAM night has really grown over the last 2 years. This last year that we had it, all of our 5th graders participated in the science fair, and our number of 3rd and 4th graders also grew. And it was wonderful because we had high school students coming in, and they judged and they gave really good feedback to all the budding scientists. And it just, having these students be having access to these experiments and things like that really just grew their pride and just showcased their learning. The STEAM night was an amazing night also with our parents that volunteered, and also our collaboration with Bristol Myers Squibb that provided all our lab coats. You can see the young girls with the cotton candy, which was a big hit because they got to see the chemical reaction in order to make the cotton candy. So that was very interesting. We had paper rockets that were shooting across the cafeteria. We had dry ice that had little mini explosions. So, and then our STEAM teacher, Dave, which really was a big part of that night, he had a station with electricity and all of that. It was just such a successful night during our STEAM and science fair night. Another wonderful partnership we have is with the San Carlos Children's Theater. This year, the production will be Annie, and we've had this partnership for a number of years. Parents and students, they put in countless hours practicing, creating sets, props, costumes, and it really showcases that theater experience for these kids, starting with our kinders that are doing the ensemble all the way up to our 5th graders that have the parts. So those are some of our big events that we have. We also have some just community events like our school beautification, family bingo night, family dance night, all of those that are just family friendly events that everyone gets to join and participate in. So this Saturday, we have our first big event for our school year, which is Dia de los Muertos. It's on Saturday, so you are all more than welcome to come and join. There's face painting, there's pan dulce and chocolate, and we have a family that's cooking all the food for us. There's jump houses you can just sign a waiver and you can get into also. We'll be painting sugar skulls. We have about 300 sugar skulls ready to go for Saturday that parents have been really working hard to do. So I invite you to come and enjoy Saturday with us. Oh, and we have, yes, and Dia de los Muertos, so the ofrendas, the altars will be up and on full display at our school with most classrooms participating in the altars, if not each individual classroom as a grade level. So I invite you to come and enjoy this wonderful event with us. And I will pass it on to Luna.
What time is the event?
It starts at 11 to 2.
Okay.
11 to 2, so please come. I'm going to pass it to our great community school coordinator, Jose Luna.
Thank you, Patty. Good evening, everyone. My name is Jose Luna. I'm the community school coordinator at Adelante Selby. So one of our priorities or one of our goals this year is to uplift our student voice and student agency. So one way we were doing that this year is we started the year off by going to every single classroom this year and presenting a kid-friendly version of what a community school is and how their voice and what role they play in that. To wrap up that presentation, we conducted a student survey, just asking them questions about how they felt when they were on campus, from the classroom to being outside and playing after schools, and we're still kind of diving into those results. We have over 500 students, so trying to get through all those 500 responses and seeing what they say, it's gonna get a bit, but we have completed all the surveys. Now we're gonna go through that data and see what the next steps are to really uplift their voice and show those kids that what they're saying really matters to us. It wasn't just to go and present and not really take that into consideration. So just these are some examples of how we encourage our students to be leaders in our campus. The biggest one is the student council. So our 3rd through 5th graders are able to vote 2 to 3 reps per classroom to be part of the student council. From then we hold student elections and we create the student cabinet, president, vice president, treasurer, and secretary. 4th and 5th graders can hold those positions, but every 3rd through 5th can vote for those. Their first duty this last week was actually they voted for the winner of our walkathon t-shirt. The students were able to enter designs from TK to 5th grade, and then the student council were able to vote for the top 5. Last Friday, the whole student body was able to vote from those top 5 to the winners. That right now only Warren and 2 parents know who won, so we're trying to see who won.
Tomorrow at 8:35.
Oh, then tomorrow we'll find out who won the t-shirt contest. But one of their first big civic duties or projects as being part of the peer mediators at our campus. That's it from our school counselor leads that, Vicky Neves, and she's going to go through a training for the next month with them. And the goal is that by the first week of December, our students will be out in the yard helping self-mediate with their own classmates. You'll see a picture of the kids. This is from last year on the right-hand corner, middle corner, sorry. Students that have been trained in student council or the peer mediators, and 2 students who are walking the peace path, trying to resolve an issue. So the first week of December, our goal is that the new batch of students are ready to be out and mediating within themselves. The GSA club, it's in its 2nd year and it's growing in popularity. I think it was last week or the week before, they had a little lunch party with the 4th and 5th graders. They had a huge crowd out there behind them. Also, like Warren mentioned, on Wednesdays, our teachers collaborate with Whitney Eakin. At the top right, you'll see a sample of the so the students frame of reference. They use this to really showcase who they are, what they are, the cultural background, where they come from. And this is a great way to get to know the kids and for the kids to get to know each other. Our kids also love lunchtime activities where they're able to share their voice, share what they think, share their opinion. At the bottom right corner, you'll see a picture of the latest one we did. Maybe about 2-3 weeks ago, we asked the kids what makes Adelante Selby a community school. So it's a huge paper of all the kids writing what that meant for them. And I took that back and we're working with Christy over at the Stanford Gardner Center. We researched trying to figure out what the parents think, what the students think, and what our staff thinks. So we're collecting all that, and that should come. We're working on a theory of action that should come back and see what their voices and where do we lead our work. You'll see a bunch of pictures here from the student council who vote for the Spirit Days, 3rd Friday of every month. We have a different theme. We just had Crazy Sock Day last Friday. We had Sports Day at the beginning of the year. So then every 3rd Friday, the student body gets to choose a different theme. We also encourage our students to give back to the community and be proud of where they come from. So last year in April, we hosted a school beautification day, and our students were actually there, and they themselves were the ones that painted the peace path at our school that they're not using. So they take ownership of that on our campus. And just in the middle picture bottom over here, we'll see the kids during our talent show. They're able to showcase their talents. Last year was one of the first years we brought it back, and this last year was way bigger than the year before. So we're hoping that every year more kids are encouraged to come up and show off their hidden talents. And a huge thing on our campus are the morning circles and the community builders. Every classroom tries to start off the day by doing a morning meeting. right here at the bottom, you'll see Maestra Maria Orozco doing a community circle with her third graders, just to build that community within their classrooms so they can feel comfortable with each other. Yeah, this is just a quick glance of our work with the students and how we're pushing them to be leaders at our school. I'm going to pass it back down to Warren. Thank you.
Great, thanks. So this last slide is around parent voice and outreach. But I did want to highlight the work that the Family Center and Jose does along with Claudia and the community school work. It's such a resource for all of our families, but particularly ones that need more support. Newcomer families can come in, they can get access to lots of different things right there at the school. They're very helpful in connecting them. I also wanted to shout out the Partnerships for After School program. It might not feel like parent voice or outreach, but I know our parents really appreciate it. We have over 200 students in Reach. We have 50 students in YMCA. We have 80 students in Siena Youth. And we have a new partner, Casa Circulo, who have 20 students over on Middlefield. So this is 3/4 of our students that can be in roughly that can be in after school until 6 o'clock. And I also want to shout out the work at the district level, Michelle Griffith and Enrique in making the programs stronger, great enrichment, more structure, more engaging for our students. So it's just been a great resource. Of course, you all know, since you're on school board, we have our 3 main parent organizations, parent-teacher organizations, school site council. We just elected 3 new parents and a new teacher, so we're training them. And guess what? We got our SIPSA done on time. Thanks for the month earlier timeline this year, you guys. We also have a new ELAC group that was just put in. That's for English language, parents of English language learner or English as a second language. Unidos is very strong, continues to be very strong, and I really appreciate. They're not just fundraising, right? They're building community and they have a really strong equity lens. So I very much appreciate them. We do a lot of other stuff. I don't know how I'm on my time. We were timing each other before we did a one through. There's pictures here of our back to school night in the upper right, which was very well attended. I always like they're so well attended because the classes are full. But Jose's like, we should have the parents sign in. So we had them sign in this year. So we actually had some data. So 87% of the families came to back to school night, which is great, right? Over bottom, in the middle of the 3 on the right, pictures on the right, that's Jose and Patty at a cafecito, which is a great informal way to interact with parents. And I know Elisa came out and she was very well received at a cafecito. Below that is Mr. Zuno. He's recruiting families for parenting classes at Familias Unidas. On the lower left here is at a gallery walk, which at the end of those integrated units, the parents are invited and students lead them through the classroom to show their learning. So there's a boy there showing off his journal writing with his Statue of Liberty crown on because it was a government unit. We have a lot going on. I know you guys see my newsletters and you read them diligently. So you kind of know what's going on at the school. I do want to read parts of these 2 quotes because one is a brand new kindergarten parent, Claudia, who's already become a big parent leader at school. She was figuring out how to handle 200 pounds of chicken and she wanted some coolers from the school. So of course, what are you gonna do with 200 pounds of chicken? So that's for Saturday because you guys are coming, right? For Dia de los Muertos. But she says, I'll just read the middle part because I know I'm gonna go too long. Ahora que mi hijo es estudiante aquí en Adelante Selby, she's saying, descubrí que ha sido fácil navegar con todo el personal. Todos son muy amigables y están ansiosos para ayudarse unos a otros. Toda la participación de los padres es asombrosa. That's a good thing. Me encanta cada día que venimos a la escuela y todos los buenos días y sonrisas que recibimos de todos. So that's from Claudia. She's a new kinder parent. And then Jessica McCarthy is a 4th grade parent who's volunteered for a number of years at our school and just on a daily basis and school site council and PTO. And guess what, Wendy? You hired her this year to be our TOSA long-term sub. So she's here on campus every day. So we so appreciate her, valued member of our school community. And we asked her for a quote, and she says a lot of different things, but we like this last part, right? So, okay. When you walk on campus, you feel welcomed and you feel a part of something. You see staff and parents working together to support our students and each other. You see parents coming together to create opportunities for our kids. And you see our community coming together to celebrate our cultures. It is truly a special place to be. So that's from Jessica, and that's a little bit about parent voice and outreach. And that's our presentation. So I would encourage you to come out to the school to see it for yourselves. And I think everybody has been on the campus, maybe not with some of the new changes.
Well, thank you very much. I will let everyone speak first, but I do want to say all 3 of my children went through Adelante. And so I love that school. And
Good
so-
answer.
Yeah, of course. I mean, obviously all of our schools are great, but Adelante Selby has a special place in my heart. So go ahead.
All right. Thanks, Warren, Patty, and Jose for coming and presenting tonight. I didn't have any particular questions about the presentation that you had there. I did want to say, though, Warren, that we're very aware of the amount of changes that we're asking from all of the teaching staff, but I think you did an amazing job of actually explaining it and sort of making it visceral for us about particularly the difference in the math instruction. So I like the way that you explained it and put that in. It made it feel really real. And so I just want to thank everyone again for all the changes that we're trying to put in place there. I realize that we've maxed out and there's more still probably coming in the next year or 2, but
Stop.
I appreciate that everyone's engaged and that these changes are coming, and hopefully the students are enjoying it. We're going to see the benefits across the district. But thank you for putting that together. And then I'm unfortunately out of town on Saturday. I am really sorry. I know I had it on my calendar and I just realized it this week that I was going to miss it, but I saw the pictures from friends that had gone last year, and it looked like it was awesome to be back on campus and able to do that last year. And I was really looking forward to it this year. So I encourage the other school board members to stop by if you get a chance to.
It was our first big event last year on campus.
Yeah. I saw some of that. I think you had a talent show there too, and I got to see some of that perform. I think that was the one that had it.
That's for Daedalus. That's at the end of
that was the one in the spring. Okay, yeah, I got the 2 confused. But yeah, so thank you. It sounds like there are many things that are going well. It might be interesting in the next one to hear where the challenges are. I kind of missed that from the report last year and what you needed from the board. So I'm not going to ask for that now because there wasn't time to prepare for it. But I think that as we're thinking about how we want these reports, I do miss that slide from here are the things that aren't really working and that we might want to pull back in. But thank you again for coming tonight.
Yeah, definitely missed that part. And I think that's really important, maybe even for like future schools.
We didn't have that. We took how we created the slides was dependent upon, remember the Friday that we had it in June.
Totally.
And from the notes that Liz and I took.
No, I think we just didn't think about that at all. That's on us.
I noticed it now as it got presented.
Yeah, that's on us.
Kind of missed that part.
Thank you very much for your presentation. You have such a vibrant school. And I love Adelante Selby. One of my regrets as a parent is having not put my children through a Spanish immersion school. And that happened because at the time it was Adelante over on the Granger Way. And when my oldest was entering kindergarten and I was told you will never get in, there's such a huge wait list just for, families who already have kids in it. I didn't know that was the year they opened the Selby Spanish immersion. So I just signed up for, I love Henry Ford. I'm so happy with the experience we had there, but I wish my kids spoke Spanish. So I'm curious, what, if you know what your wait list looks like, especially for like kindergarten years, is it still what?
Well, we're starting tours already.
November 2nd.
Next Thursday, a week from tomorrow, we're already starting tours. And then we'll have every Thursday going onward. Demand remains high for the school. We opened a second TK program this year, and those 44, 48 students, whatever, they should, hopefully they have priority to get in. The two preschool groups that are on campus, they have sibling priority to get in, and then the brothers and sisters, right, of the current students have priority. This year, I think we had about maybe 20 students, and we have 4 kinder classes, and they're pretty full. They're like 24. They're at like 24.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
I will.
So demand remains high.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's good to know. I will try to stop by the De los Muertos. I'm leading my own tour of Union Cemetery for our Halloween stories.
Oh,
So when that's over, I will try to swing by.
great. Come by. We also have trunk or treat going on in the afternoon on Halloween too. So that's another one that's fun.
I'll be excited to see your Halloween outfit in the cemetery. Okay. Fantastic presentation. Great work. I loved some of the themes that came out. The diagram in particular about problem-based teaching and learning really resonates. I run an innovation team for Capital One, and that's actually how we run things. Is we present the problem without trying to present the solution, and have people just going to work on it in a very autonomous way. So it's fun to see that happening even in the school basis. Glad to hear that so far so good on the student-directed learning plans. Very excited as we get more data back on that. Loved seeing the science fair video of Ben's Beans, the very scary green clown in last year's trunk or treat. Like, that's a little scary. Yeah, no, it's super cool to see how this is all coming along. I also would love to hear more, just what can the district do for you, and like quantitatively, how are things going? What are the challenges? We'll find some appropriate venue to go and discuss that, but great work. Awesome.
Yeah, so ditto to what everybody said. Thank you. I always enjoy getting out to Adelante Selby, and really appreciate the presentation tonight. It was great. Love the whole community school and how you're really even doing more around student voice and parent voice. And I'll be really interested to hear, as you do this work with the Gardner Center, what you come up with. Be interesting to see, particularly, are these different voices, are they saying different things that they want from a community school or need from a community school than we've always assumed, given the protocol and the practices that we've done. So anyway, I'm really glad you're doing that. The Gardner Center is such a great partner with us. So thank you for highlighting that. Everything looks great. I know I was at the Dia de los Muertos last year and just thoroughly enjoyed myself. I'm actually out of town this weekend. I'm so sad because that's one of my favorite things to do. But I will definitely get the Dia del Nino on our calendars. I don't know if there's already a date for that, but you'll have to make
April
sure.
27th, April 28th.
April
27th.
Okay, whatever the Saturday is.
Yeah.
Great. Okay, I want to get that on my calendar. Yeah, so just thank you so much. I mean, every time I go out to the school, you can just tell the vibrancy, and the kids are loving it and they're learning. And of course, we've seen the test data. We know that the kids are doing well. I mean, by the time they get to 5th grade, they are, proficient in English and Spanish, which is such a gift to the students.
Yes,
so
definitely.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks. And come out to the next cafecito.
Yes, I'd love to.
The parents were asking for you.
Okay,
Yeah.
good. I like to go talk to your parents. Okay, when are those?
Oh gosh, November's so choppy because we're all
Okay, I'll look at the. I can look at your.
I'll send you an email.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, and again, I just want to comment more on a personal level, just so you guys know. Mr. Cedar was actually the principal at Kennedy when my older kids were at Kennedy. So when schools merged and Adelante went to Selby's campus and became Adelante Selby, I myself as a parent, although, I came in after the mergers of the schools, I had always been involved in the advisory committee. And so I felt as a parent, well, great, I already know who the principal is going to be, right? And so, and just like him, I love his personality. I mean, you always saw him in campus. I was part of ELAC and DLAC at Kennedy back in those days. And then Maestra Patti, or now vice principal, my kids didn't have her, but my sister's kids did, and I know that they loved her.
I had your youngest.
Okay, you did?
I did at the old campus.
Maybe it's been so long, I don't remember. Okay. Okay, yeah.
It's a whole family affair here.
Yeah, right. And Jose was the teacher's aide back in fourth grade with Maestra Alondra over at the Adelante campus. Yeah, so
Awesome.
yeah, so thank you guys for your dedication to our district, especially
Yeah.
Mr. Cedar. You've been here for so many years, so it's really nice to,
Yeah,
still
we were
see you
using
around.
rotary phones.
Yeah, yeah.
We
And
really
so-
were, we were.
The old tech stuff with all your stuff, your typewriter, your.
Yeah, and then again, I don't want to make it a personal thing, but my daughter is now a Spanish, she works at a Spanish immersion for another school district. Went through Adelante, Sequoia, biliterate, and she's now teaching Spanish. So I
Well,
really,
Wendy will get her cell number in 2 seconds.
yeah, so thank you so much for the presentation, and for all you guys do.
Yeah,
Thanks.
really.
Thanks.
Well, Warren, I know we did not have data on in regard to test scores and so forth, but I've received and I've been looking at your test scores. And of course, today you sent me, goals and updates that we'll be talking about in a few weeks. Congratulations, you met all your goals and his test scores are very
Improved.
improved. You should be proud of that. All three of you should be very proud of that, all that hard work. I know there is a lot.
Sylvia's part of that.
Oh, there's Sylvia. She's right. I didn't even see
Yeah,
her come in. There she is.
She's third grade teacher. The third grade, you should look at the third grade.
I did
scores.
look at
Yeah.
the third grade scores.
Sylvia, she's
She's right in the
behind you.
She's right in the back.
Hi.
So thank
great.
you all so much for all that hard work. The staff, teachers,
Very
administrators,
dedicated, yeah.
very dedicated. When we created those goals, and they've all created their goals for me. And as I said, in the next couple of weeks, I'll be meeting with each of them individually. I was very impressed to see the growth that your school did. You were, I know, a bit nervous. You thought they're a bit lofty, but you did it. You did it. So thank you so much, not only Warren, Patti, Jose, Sylvia, and the rest of the teachers and staff that are at Adelante Selby. Great job. Great job. Really appreciate it.
Muchísimas gracias. Thank you for
Thank you.
the support. We really appreciate it.
And the tether ball.
And the tether balls. I caught the tether
Oh,
ball
that was-
coming.
At least you remembered. Somebody remembered. Because it was last February we were asking.
Yeah, funny.
It's just they just have to put up 6 poles. It won't cost that much. Yeah. All right. Thank you guys.
Thank
All right,
you.
Thank you, Warren. Patti, Jose, you guys too. Sylvia, you don't have to stay. Are you want to support? Are you going to support?
You gotta
Very good.
support
You're gonna
Roy
support
Class.
Melissa. I am so sorry, Melissa. It's just that I felt if they wanted to go, work day tomorrow. Very good. Thank you for supporting your colleague.
All right, so Roy Cloud is up next with Melissa Bowden. And I know some of her staff is online because they are out. as well.
Yes.
So-
Yeah, I think I've got a few of my staff members online. Yeah, but I'm repping in person. Thank you guys so much for this opportunity. So I'm really excited to share with you Roy Cloud's academic developments, recent school and upcoming events, how we are addressing and enhancing our student voices and ways we're engaging our community. I think it's important to note that many of the items that I'm going to be sharing with you guys this evening are products of the results of our Panorama school survey, some street data, student surveys, staff collaboration, and of course, district initiatives. As always, our goal is to continue to strive to meet the needs of all of our students in their academics, social interactions, emotional needs, and to support in the preparation for their next steps in high school and beyond. At Roy Cloud, while we want our students to be prepared for high school, we also want them to find out who their true self is and do that through exploration. And to do so in a safe and inclusive environment. Whitney has been brought up. I'm going to bring her up again. She's incredible. We are so grateful to her partnership. But she came in and did the launch for the Pedagogy of Confidence, or what we're kind of calling the Equity in Education Framework launch. And as a staff, we brainstormed what we had hoped for our students as Roy Cloud graduates. And I just wanted to share some of the things that our teachers had said. Across the staff, they came up with such traits that they are hoping for our graduates to be passionate, to be creative, to be leaders, agents of change, to be confident, upstanders, kind, and empowered. And as with many things, we are a work in progress, but I feel with each moment of reflection and turning point in the school year, we get closer to supporting our students to live out those characteristics, both in school and out in the larger community. Before we jump in, I want to thank our Roy Cloud community, the teachers, the staff, the parents, the partners, and students for the dedication they put into ensuring that our students are well supported, well educated, well equipped to handle any situation, knowing that they have a lot of people in their corner. So with that, we can jump into my academic slide. So I want to say there's a lot of bullet points here. This is actually dialed down. Before I send it in, I checked in with Adelante Selby to look at their slides, and mine was like a 0.6 of all of the things that we're doing at Roy Cloud. And they were like, you might want to like shrink it down and just talk to a few points. And I'm really, it's just because I'm really proud of the programs that we have going on at Roy Cloud. And so a few of the things that I want to talk to you guys tonight about are some of the newer things, which is with illustrative math. I'm really proud of the teachers' engagement with this new curriculum. New things can present challenges, and our teachers are asking really great questions to get to know this curriculum better, all with the intention of supporting their students and ensuring that they are carrying out the scope and sequence of their grades curriculum with fidelity. Our teachers have attended all of the professional development opportunities, and in each one, they come prepared with new questions, new ideas, and share stories about how the most recent lesson has unfolded in their classroom. I've spent some time with teachers disaggregating data collected from the assessment tool in IM. We've looked at how students are accessing the online assessments, if there's any barriers that the students might be experiencing, if the platform is working for the students, if more support is needed. We've created a plan to follow up, to look for patterns and identify tier 1 universal practices that may serve the students better, all while still engaging fully with the materials that have been provided to us. There are a few images up here on the slide. Let's see, at the top, and then the two down there at the bottom right of a first grade. The first grade classroom, they were doing a lesson on data collection. And I think the takeaway from the teacher's perspective was just how great it was that the teacher was the facilitator. That was mentioned in the Adelante Selby presentation, is that with this new curriculum, the teachers, it's a very inquiry-based curriculum where the students are engaging with the materials and the topics on their own, and they're trying to make sense of it. And the teachers are just kind of facilitating that conversation. They are engaging in questions. They're pulling some of the quieter voices into the conversation to make sure that everyone's an active participant. And so what's really great about a lot of the things that are embedded into the lessons is that it engages in rigor, but also play. And so that's what we're seeing here with some of this data collection. And then what was also added by this teacher that sent me after the fact was that on their Friday fun, one of the students really enjoyed the data collection lesson. So she created her own data collection questionnaire and all that for her classmates. And that's her presenting her findings up there. So I thought that was really cool that, it's lessons like these where we hope that in-depth exploration sparks an interest that takes a student down their own path. And we feel that this curriculum is doing that for these students. And then I just want to talk to the assessment piece as well. So to speak to our new assessments this year, we engage with them by securing, especially with our TK through second, we wanted our teachers to be able to have dedicated time with each of their students, to be able to conduct the assessments, but also to be able to have quiet time with each of their students, to be able to also collect some observational data, as well as the data that they're collecting with the assessments. And so we secured 3 subs across a couple of days, and the teachers were able to kind of step out of the classroom, all the while knowing that that the learning was continuing in the classroom, and they pulled their students one by one and did their assessments, and then were able to just hear in a quieter setting all of the different assessments that they were doing. So the CRLPs, BPST, the FAST Bridge, and then after all of that was done, I want to really show my appreciation for Maureen McPeak, who is our TK through 3rd intervention teacher, for supporting our staff, especially with the initial engagement with this assessment. She was very well knowledgeable already in the CRLP and the BPST. And so any teachers who were feeling a little nervous, anything that's new can bring challenges and nervous energy. And she was right there to kind of support them and help them kind of roll out these new assessments and help them by providing suggestions and tips. And then she sat with them and went over the data with them and helped them kind of build paths for success for each of these students based on the data that we collected from these assessments. So she was also incredibly knowledgeable with the new Hegarty phonics, which I just sat in a classroom today. I've seen it a few times, but today it was super fun because they've been doing it for a while and everyone was having a great time. It's very engaging. The teacher is sitting there and is modeling, and students are, playing back with the teacher. And it's a really fun way to engage in phonics. So I'm really grateful for that curriculum as well. And then of course we have iReady. So it's nice to continue with iReady this year. Students are used to the structure. And we finished our meeting with our iReady rep, which we are also very grateful for, because every time we meet with them, we always learn new things that are helpful to us, that we can walk away with and feeling supported and learning about how we can utilize that data to inform our practices and gauge student progress. So we looked at the diagnostic to set goals, and we're really looking forward to the second diagnostic to look for growth patterns. So, okay, school events. Oh, and some of the links there, just to let you guys know. So we also have an SEL curriculum that is supported by our PTO, but it's called Character Strong. It's something that is TK through 8th grade. In middle school, they engage with our SEL curriculum in homeroom, which is every single day. And then in our elementary school, they engage in them every day, different times of the day, mostly during their morning meetings though. And then I also linked a staff meeting that we did because I really enjoyed engaging. This is my second year in the district. So last year was my first year. I really enjoyed engaging with the learner framework. And so I took a lot of what we did last year and applied it to some of the things we did at our site. And so that is a link to one of the staff meetings that we did where we did a lesson remix. So we took a lot of the language from the learner framework and looked at some of our curriculum lessons and how we might be able to revamp them to address all of our student needs. So which student voices maybe might be a little quieter in some of these lessons, and how might we be able to bring them to the forefront. Let's see, what else do we have here? The 2 whiteboard activities, those are from one of Whitney's visits with us. She actually engaged, this is from a 5th grade lesson. She engaged with our 5th graders to help them kind of fine tune and wrap their heads around goal setting. So with that support, students were able to kind of really think deeply and thoughtfully about the types of goals they want to set for themselves this year for the student-led goal setting that they are engaging in this week. Yeah, and then we are grateful to our PTO. Our PTO provides us with so many programs, and last year through our fund a need, we raised money to give our library a lift, as we're calling it. And in that, we are looking to provide more diverse literature in our libraries. We are bringing in more authors to come and speak to our students. And we also were able to secure a license with Book Break, which gives us access to really amazing authors where teachers can engage with them. It's all virtual, and so we just schedule it out, and these authors Zoom into our classrooms, and we get to hear about their craft and their passions, and hopefully spark some passions with our students. And then we have some other things there as well. Lots of things. We just got our language power, which we're really excited for, that we'll be engaging in and learning more about and in November PD. So really looking great there. And then we also secured an executive functioning curriculum for 6th grade. We were noticing that some of our 6th graders, when they're transitioning from elementary into middle school, could use a little support in just, what is middle school and how do we, how do we transition from class to class, and how do we organize all of our classes and communicate with our teachers and things like that. And so we're using the SMARTS curriculum to kind of support that and support our teachers there. And then with the support of our PTO and the district, we were able to secure a humanities Spanish course for 7th and 8th grade this year, which we are very excited about. It is amazing. So thank you guys so much for that support. And then I also just linked one of my principal copies where I went over those new assessments, just to kind of show you what communication I provided to the parents so they knew what assessments we were engaging with their children and what kind of data would be able to get to help their children, move forward in their academics. Okay, now we can move forward.
Just real quick, Melissa.
Yeah.
The slide deck attached to the agenda does not have these links. So if at some point maybe Evelyn can update that so that we can have access to them. Thank you.
Okay, school events. So Roy-Clad has a lot. So I just wanted to go over just a few of them. Our school events are designed to encourage community building and to develop school pride. Our school events range from large-scale community events to small classroom-size events organized by teachers. In these photos, you'll see students preparing for a presentation in science where they learned about solids and liquids and then presented their investigation findings to peers and other staff members invited to attend. So an example of kind of like what a smaller event might look like. But then we also have our annual jogathon put on by our PTO to raise money for our school. You'll see our mascot Boom there. So we are the Thunderbolts. Lots of people ask, what is a thunderbolt? Because we hear lightning bolts. That's a thunderbolt. We have a photo of our incredible Mix Washburn orchestrating the music performance last year, just to kind of show you. So Mix Washburn is at Roy-Clad right now. They are our 2nd through 8th grade music teacher. However, they're rotating through our TK through 1st as well, just to get exposure into musicology. And we already have 2 concerts planned. So we will we're so excited. It's going to be amazing. So we will share that with you guys and invite you to our concerts. And in addition to the weekly exposure to musicology that our 2nd through 8th graders, our 2nd through 5th graders really get. Our middle schoolers have quite a few options to engage in some more advanced music. So our 6th graders, with this being a new music program, they didn't get a lot of the early instrumental that Mix Washburn is working on with our 5th graders. So they have opened up a morning option for 6th graders to be able to engage in some introductory instrumental practice so that they can get that kind of the basics of that. And then, of course, we have our enrichment, that is our advanced orchestra and our advanced band. Let's see, what else do we have? Oh, we like to bring in a lot of assemblies, but when we bring in our assemblies, we like them to be with purpose. So we have a BMX assembly that we were bringing back this year. We just wanted to show you what it looks like, that it's not just a BMX show. It's a BMX show that doubles as an empowering anti-bullying campaign. So this was a really great experience. It grabbed the students' attention with the tricks and bike skills, while also talking about being a team, being an upstander, and being able to help your community by choosing kindness. It was really great. We have a photo down at the bottom of one of our specialized learning centers who put on a play, The Wizard of Oz, for our families. and for their 3rd through 5th grade classes. It was incredible. It was, to say it was incredible, I think was an understatement. It was just such a wonderful experience to share in this with these students and to see them shine on stage and all the budding actors and actresses. And then we have, let's see, we also have our, down at the bottom left, we have a group of middle schoolers who took our SCL curriculum, so Character Strong. In Character Strong, they have a really rigorous conflict resolution protocol process or the steps that are embedded that we like to practice. And so they took those steps and they turned it into a mural for us. And so students go over there and they can follow the steps in talking out a problem or an issue that they're having with a peer. Other photos depict our buddy day, which you guys have a link to a video. It is very long, but it's very cute. It's very sweet. It really shows the student leadership of our older students and how they're engaging with our younger community and just how enthralled our younger community is with our older students. And let's see, we have our ASB rallies. Our ASB is amazing. And finally, we have, the other link that I added there, which is a Get to Know You Roy Cloud video. It was a parent event that I hosted back in December where I outlined specific things each grade level does and what our different academic programs look like from elementary to middle school. This came as a result of feedback from families who were wondering about their child's academic path and didn't know kind of what we offered from each grade to grade or like in the different upper grades, mainly because they were either new families or because their oldest child was in some of the younger grades. And so just reading that feedback, I thought I can talk about what we got going on in all the grades. And so I presented that and all of the great events that were coming school-wide, as well as what they can look forward to when their child evolves into the different grades. So the other thing I wanted to add there as well is that little small little rectangle where it says you made it. Something new that we're trying this year. Students come in when they're tardy. We don't know why they are, we're just happy that they're there. We know that, it could have been a rushed morning or something. And so we just want them to know like, hey, you're here. It's awesome. So they're going to get a little tag like that just says, we're so happy you're here. So that's our school events. And then the next slide, our student voice. So this is where, click one more time, it'll pop up all those bullet points. There you go. I dialed it down. So one of the people that I asked to be here, but is homesick right now, is our academic counselor, Joanne Ongoko. And the reason why I asked her to be here is because she really is instrumental in lifting our student voices. And so I'm going to speak to a few of the things that she has implemented this year. Let me just find where I put, okay. So one of the first things that I wanted to talk about was in that bottom corner where it says the Roy Cloud 23-24 goals. She started the year by hanging out at each recess and lunch to talk to each grade span of students about goal setting and how it's helpful. From there, students talked with each other about goals they wanted to set for themselves and listed them out on the yellow paper. And this poster is hanging up in the library for students to revisit their goals. This was a great introduction into the work that they were going to engage in drafting their goals with their teachers and parents and presenting those this week in the student-led goal setting conferences. Not only has Joanne cultivated the idea of progress over perfection, but she also has worked hard to establish relationships with students. Another thing that she did this year was she scheduled time with each grade level to do what's called minute meetings, where she met with each kid and just got to know them and, their interests and all of that. And I just thought that was really great. And she's sharing that data with us so we can get to know our students on another level. In doing this, she's able to establish herself as an additional adult on campus and who cares for the students as well. And so Joanne and Julia Robinson, who is our mental health counselor, they are such a solid team, and we are so grateful to them for the love and support that they give our kids. Our ASB is also growing immensely into what it truly means to be student leaders. We're taking our representatives to a few events this year to learn more about leadership and how to be an active participant in bringing forth positivity and an inclusive environment. They're the ones that they lead our rallies, they lead our Bolt Award assemblies every Thursday. They're going to help me with the Halloween parade that we have coming up. They're such wonderful kids and such active members of our community. And I'm really grateful to them and just their commitment to our school. In addition to ASB, we also have a community service enrichment where students are able to sign up to support teachers and other staff on campus. In addition to this, students are helping out with things like adaptive PE, and then also currently they're creating a Halloween safety video for our elementary students. And so next Monday, they're going to go into the elementary classes and they're going to present what it means to be safe in neighborhoods and things like that. And then we're also, going to be out supporting the greater community, up the peninsula on field trips and things like that. So how do we know that these are things that the students want is through surveys. We ask our students to be open and honest with us. We heard that some of our scholars are, sometimes struggling with choosing kindness with peers. And so because of that, we brought forward the Safe School Ambassadors last year, which we will be continuing this year, and we'll be bringing on our new 6th graders who are interested in that. And that whole program is about helping peers navigate bullying in an effort to improve our school climate. We're also planning a Unity Day this year in hopes to bring our scholar community closer as we build empathy and understanding, which in turn could lead to kinder interactions. And we are grateful to the district for helping us secure that as well. And then we also have, in addition to, so we've had a middle school GSA club that meets on Wednesdays at lunch. And now we have one that's opening up with our 4th and 5th graders. So we have 4th through 8th grade GSA that we call Rainbow Cloud, and they meet at lunch. Yeah. We get t-shirts. So, and so they meet on Wednesdays and Fridays. And Mix Washburn is the teacher that oversees that, and they're incredible. So that's just a little bit about our student voice, but something that we're really, really trying to put a lot of effort towards. Okay, so parent outreach. I think, yeah, we're almost there. Okay. So parent outreach, Roy Cloud and our parents are a tight union. We work really closely with our PTO. And when I say PTO, yes, we have our officers, but it's all of our parents. It's the entire community. And so what we have here is, I engage with our communities indirectly and I guess a little directly through my weekly newsletters. We also did a volunteer chaperone training just because I want to front load, what does it mean to be a volunteer and a chaperone on a field trip or in the classroom, and, remove any barriers that there might be for someone to volunteer. We promote the district's volunteer process to make sure that everyone knows what you need to do in order to get that volunteer clearance. We really want our parents to volunteer, so we push that out as much as we can. We try to personalize a lot of our messaging and our invitations as much as we can. We engage with our families through School Site Council, and in that we have our ELAC embedded in School Site Council. We engage in surveys and questionnaires just to make sure that our parent voices are heard. Sometimes it's hard for them, to stop by and talk. So, just giving them a survey or a questionnaire, just say, hey, how's it going? Let us know. And, we read that and make some changes. This past year, based on survey feedback, we heard that, it would be really great. We do kindergarten play dates over the summer, that we do them for the entire school. So this year we did TK, kinder, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, and then we did a 6th grade hangout because we don't want to call middle school play dates. We're going to call them hangouts. So we did that. We had a great turnout, something that we will continue. It was a really great way for us to build community right before we started school. You know, there's a lot of nervous energy that comes before stepping into the classroom on that first day. And then a lot of the new families that have registered, you know, it's just getting to know that and make that connection, which was really great. Let's see. We also have a new PTO position where their main job and goal is to bring families together. And so we're trying to build a buddy program where we are connecting new families with returning families to make sure that our new families are feeling supported. So if they can't, you know, get to me for any chance, or if they see something in my newsletter and they just need someone, like just a quick question, they can, you know, reach out to their buddy family and ask that quick question just to build that connection. And yeah, so got a lot going on. We have a lot of events. These are some pictures from our latest Fall Fest that just happened, where we didn't do a dunk tank this year. That was last year. I was in that. This year they had a contraption where you would throw a ball and a giant water balloon would fall on your head. So that was in place of the dunk tank this year. Still walked away really wet, but so yeah, again, I'm so happy to be a part of this district. I know this is my second year. I'm so proud to be the Roy Cloud principal. And one of the things that I really enjoyed last year in doing the SIPSA reports and all of that is I got to hear from what the other schools were doing, and I got to collect some great ideas. I've already heard from Adelante Selby about some of the wonderful things that they're doing. And so, you know, it's a community, not just within a school, but in an entire district. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you for the presentation. I will go ahead and open it up for you guys.
Super awesome. Thank you. Really neat presentation. I was going to comment on the links, but Jan beat me to it. Was really encouraging to hear some of the specific comments about the new curriculums being introduced. So for instance, hearing that things were going well with Haggerty and that was being found to be engaging. Those kind of early signals are really helpful for us because we know we're putting a lot of change on you all, and just hearing, hopefully it's not all just change for change's sake. Some of the change is actually landing well. So that's really helpful and encouraging. Really good to also hear, for instance, the nuance around iReady, that it's not, just as a reminder, that it's not just test scores, which is how most of the parents in the district are going to interact with iReady, but they're providing these richer services to us that help make them actionable. That's great to hear about. I'm excited to hear more detail about like how the district is taking action based on iReady and how iReady, the company, is helping us. So I think that's great. The linked movie had a pretty hilarious story by Philip about when I'm 100 years old, it will be crazy. And he's going to drink pina coladas at a bar. I thought that was great. I actually may have gone off with DALL-E 3 to make an illustration I'll share with you later with that. I love the buddy family concept. If that's working well at this school, I'd love to see if maybe other schools can adopt that programmatically in partnership with their PTOs. So that may be something we want to think about, because just, you know, hey, this is how to navigate the school. Getting that from another family seems like a terrific resource. So like that may be something we want to copy paste. So bravo on pioneering that. So very cool. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Melissa. It's always great to hear from you and Roy Cloud. And, you know, Roy Cloud has always had such a great community school, and I think you've just continued to make it great and even better. I mean, I really love all the different new programs you've brought and really just kind of highlighting some of the things that have been going on for a while. I'm not going to repeat what you said because I had the same notes. So anyway, ditto on what he just said. But I'm not sure. I know I went to a couple of events last year, and I'm not sure if I went to Fall Fest or towards the end of the year, because I think I did see you in a dunk tank.
Yep.
So maybe I did.
That was Fall Fest.
So I missed it this
Yeah.
year. Darn it.
Yeah.
Next year I'll have to make sure I get that on my calendar. I know that you have a very active dads club as well, which is great that you bring in the dads to really help. You've always had a very, Roy Cloud has always had a very strong parent community, and it sounds like it continues to really support the whole school. So thanks. Loved hearing about the ASB. I know you have a very strong student program, and there, a lot of student voice going on and student activities led. And then thanks for highlighting the rainbow cloud. Is that what it's called? Yeah, I love it. And I love that you're adding some grades and seeing the need there, and really providing for some of our students who want to be part of a GSA. So thank you. So anyway, just great job. And again, you two are the first schools to present. So thank you for coming out of the gate strong and set the bar high. So appreciate you being here. Thanks. Oh, and just, I'm sorry, real quick, because I know we do have some teachers and staff and parents on the call. I'm sorry, I just meant to say thank you, just a shout out to all the teachers and the staff at both schools. I don't know if I said that before, so thank you. Sorry, Mike.
Similar. Thanks, Melissa, for the presentation. I'm really glad you're here in Redwood City School District. I'm glad to hear that you're glad to be here as well, and that you're proud of it. It sounds like you're off to an amazing start of your second year here, and there's a lot going on at Roy Cloud. It sounds like things are going really well there. I really appreciated how you thanked all the additional staff that's there helping the classroom teachers. First of all, I'm going to thank Whitney for all the work that she does. She got mentioned in that Alante Selby presentation as well. I've seen her in the, in these trainings with teachers and supporting them, and it is truly remarkable. But also Maureen and Joanne and the additional people that are helping, or both adopting the new curriculum, but also supporting students when they need help and staff when they need the additional help. So I know we're doing this at a lot of our, all of our school sites. I hope they're all getting additional instructional assistants. And health counselors. So, but yes, thank you. And to your staff that's online, appreciate all the work that's going on.
Thank you very much for your presentation. You're doing a great job, Melissa, at Roy Cloud. I'm happy that you're here in the district too. I'm not going to repeat everything that's already been said. So ditto, ditto, ditto. And I love the scroll. I can't scroll. The You Made It. Is it a card or sticker or?
Oh, the little, it's one of the new things that we're trying out. It's going to be just a little cardstock, because we give the little tardy slips to just let the teachers know, like, yep, they came to us and now they're coming to you, and so now we're going to give them a little. It says you made it.
I think that's so important. My own kids stress out about having to get like the tardy to turn in, and almost, I'd say 95% of the time, it's not my kid's fault that they're late. It's my fault. Or there was some chaos going on at home. We just don't know what's happening at the house. So thank you for acknowledging that for the students. I think that's really important.
If I could just give, I would love to give praise to Joan Perez. She's the one that actually gave me the idea to do that. I forgot to mention that. And I also want to mention Anna Rivoli and Eve Avalos and Michelle Ortez, because they're overseeing all of ASB as well. So all of that, I mean, it really is like, I think I could go through all of the staff members, and like, they're all collectively doing something that is just like so student forward and just building such a strong community. But yeah,
that's so important.
That one was Joan Perez.
It's great. And I just want to say I love the Thunderbolt mascot that you showed. Just to give you a brief history of the Roy Cloud Thunderbolts. I was a Roy Cloud student when that name was chosen. John, I don't know if you remember, it was probably 1990, 91. Probably. And I just know that students submitted a bunch of ideas, and then they came back to us with 3 of them, and we voted on them. And I know I didn't vote Thunderbolts because I didn't know what a Thunderbolt was. But yeah, I wanted to be a bulldog, I think. So
I'm a proud Thunderbolt. We also have a yellow one. We have 2 of them.
No, but I love this. So that's really fun. Thank you for showing that too. I think that's all I have. Thank you.
Thanks again for the presentation. And just like Janet said, ditto, 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 especially on the Buddy family. Again, and I do hope that as principals, when you guys get together, you talk about and collaborate with what's working for your schools and that perhaps it could work for theirs too. So I think it's great because it makes families feel welcome. You have the connection, the network, and you don't feel as lonely, I think. And then I want to say, you mentioned something about the middle school transition. So I actually thought since you were, or now a K or TK 8, that obviously students were like, I'm just transitioning, but it's actually nice that you guys explain to them, you're still in a school, but you're now moving on to the middle school. So I thought it was just going to be a, easy transition.
Yeah.
And then I just wanted to point out, obviously you talked about kindness quite a few times and talked about bullying, especially with, everything going on in the world. So I think getting kids ready, yes, on the academic piece, but we also have to think of the human piece because again, we are raising our future generation of civilians or, people around our community and our world. So thank you very much.
One thing I forgot to add, I know you said you were getting some ideas from Warren's presentation. We do have other principals that are on this call. So hopefully they're getting some ideas for their schools too for you guys. Yeah.
And I'll be watching theirs too. I'm just collecting ideas. I love what everyone's presenting. So.
So Melissa, I know you're happy being here. We're very happy to have you. I was happy to, that you were selected to be the principal of Roy Cloud. And I'm going to take a little different detour. You were already copied on an email that I wrote a parent. So you know about it. So I'm going to read something from this parent, which gives relevance to the type of character trait that Melissa has as a principal at the school site. There are some students that have some challenges, and Melissa does a great job of working with the student, working with the parents, thinking very positive about it all the time. And so I'm going to read a portion of this, and where I blank out, it's because there's a child's name there. Okay. I'm not reading the whole thing. I'm reading the parts that I thought were very special, and I think I reiterated them to the mom with the email that we were copied on. So this is from a parent at Roy Cloud. It says, each interaction with Miss Bowden, as it relates to, leaves me believing certain people are born to be educators. She is truly one of them. She believes in each child, advocates for each child genuinely, wants the best for each child, and brings a positive energy to the situation. And mind you, these situations are a little troubling. From my seat as a parent of a child who is experiencing difficulties, she has always been empathetic too. I see the care and concern when she interacts with my child and truly wants my child to succeed no matter the circumstances. Whatever happens in my child's situation, I will always reflect and appreciate the kindness she demonstrates to my child and my family. If she is doing this for one child, I can almost guarantee she is doing it for the entire student body. I thought you should know what a tremendous asset she is to Roy Cloud. And we've been working closely in regarding to some issues, and to get this from a parent where there is a situation which Melissa has been very close to, not only this year, but last year when we were talking about this family. You've done an amazing job with bringing all your tools of the trade to the forefront with all your families at Roy Cloud, and I'm truly appreciative for that. I cannot tell you how many times that her parent community has said what a good choice this was, and so for that I applaud you. I also want to applaud you for something else that you have been doing. And she sits down with teachers and does lesson plans, goes in and models lessons, and they have conversations. So thank you so much for doing that.
Yeah.
It's the true sense of an instructional leader at a school site. And you definitely are the instructional leader at Roy Cloud. And thank you from the bottom of my heart for everything that you're doing. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you all so much.
Thanks
for
again.
coming
boss.
tonight.
Now
Good
you
night.
know.
Thank you, guys.
Good night, Sylvia.
And moving on to item 8, consent agenda items. If there are no questions or comments, can I please get a motion to approve?
So moved.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. So moving on to item, let me see. 9.1, approval of the 23-24 federal addendum to the local control accountability plan. Okay.
So this evening, this addendum is here for you for the 23-24 school year. And of course, every time we have our LCAP, we oh, you're plugging in. Okay. I thought every time we have the, our LCAP, we have to provide this addendum, and this gives us the amount of money that we're going to be receiving from the state for some of our students. I notice Ms. Rivera is here there she is. She's here with us this evening. So if you have any questions that you would like to ask her in regard to this addendum, she is here. Just one thing she wanted for us to notify, due to the reduction of the number of students we have, we're about $500,000 less this year, Catherine?
That's correct. Yes. Yeah. Due to a declining number of students who qualify for Title I resources, we do have less overall resources across the district.
Are there any questions in regard to this addendum?
I just want to say I appreciate all the paperwork that you're doing around this. It's a lot, so thank you.
Thank you.
Plus federal monitoring.
So we need a motion to approve. I'll make a motion.
Seconded.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So moving on to item 10, report, board and superintendent report.
We had just a short bond team meeting where we kind of just talked about what was going to be on the agenda tonight that we just all discussed here.
I completed my first online ethics training as required by law, and I
got his
Do I get an apple?
You
Or,
get a
yeah.
star or
Do I get a gold
Have a
star?
gold star, yeah, definitely.
Gripping.
All right, I have not completed my ethics training, but I will. So you're one step ahead. Let's see. So I had a busy couple of weeks. We had a wellness committee meeting. Oh my goodness. Janet and I were both there, and Patricia did such a good job. Patrinia, I'm sorry. Oh my gosh. I do know who I'm talking about, Patrinia. Yeah. Thank you for the correction there. Anyway, bringing in our partners and just to kind of see the breadth of the support that we're getting in one setting was amazing. And they all did like a little TED talk. So it was quite impressive anyway. So that was great. And I went to the Sequoia Hospital Community Advisory Committee meeting. And actually at that committee meeting this time, there was a few things that came up that I was able to make connections with Raphael at Redwood City Together and a couple of others. So it was kind of useful to be there for that. And then let's see, we had a workforce housing committee. And then Cecilia, John, and I went to the CSBA Roadshow, and we got to hear from all the senior staff. I thought it was pretty good. Also I know John went up after and talked a little bit about some of our priorities of things that we'd like for them to help us with. So that was good. And then I have one extra packet and t-shirt either for David or Janet, so you can fight over it. I'm sorry I don't have another one. But I did want to say at a minimum, you both should probably just peruse through the package. And this is the PowerPoint, so you could just quickly get what we got from the PowerPoint. And I'm sorry I didn't grab another one. I didn't have the right math. And there wasn't that many left. So anyway, but sorry about that. So maybe you guys can share and figure it out, do a Rochambeau or something. Okay. And then I did meet and talk with a member of our community about dyslexia this week as well.
So actually you guys covered most of mine, the bond team meeting, the wellness committee. Thank you for sending the slides. I was going to do that. And workforce housing. And then I attended my son's goal setting conference. I was the very first one. So, you know, we sat down and I said, none of us have done this before. And she said, all right, Jude, you're on. And it was amazing. And it was so much more impactful for me as a parent than the conferences that we do in November. There was a lot. I appreciate the amount of thought that my child had to put into this. I understand, was it Kendall put together the slide deck?
It was Kindle and there's also Branya.
Okay.
They worked on it.
Yeah, so the students had a template that they filled in. I'm assuming it's different for different grade levels. I would love to be able to see what some of the other grade levels look like. I don't know if there's like a template that you can just send to the board members.
I'm going to a kindergarten one tomorrow.
Amazing. So, and I'm going to ask Jude if he's comfortable with me sending it out to you guys, just so you can see what a filled out one looks like. I'll talk to him.
You know, TK even did it because we had a meeting yesterday regarding the big lift, and Anne Berriafa, you know, was in the meeting with me. And so we were talking before the people from the county were coming in. I go, Anne, where are you coming from? Well, you know, we're doing the goal setting meetings. I go, TK's doing, I didn't know TK was doing it. She goes, yeah, we're doing them. I go, were you able to take, she goes, I was able to video one. Do you think the parent will let us give us the permission just to show it to the board? That's it. So she was going to check, but they did them in TK. I was really surprised. So I'll find out tomorrow. I'm going to kindergarten, so we'll see.
So I also
Did you have yours?
attended goal setting conferences for a first grader and a third grader. I think just my input is that the one for the third grader was probably closer to intent for format in terms of like my son doing most of the talking. I mean, he usually does most of the talking, so I guess that part's not unusual. I do feel like it probably could benefit from a little bit more structure. So I think it's great that we're going down this path. At the same time, like I think we probably should once we've gone through it, get some feedback, what parts work.
We are going to get feedback. That's what we've talked about. Anna and I have sat down and talked about a survey.
Just like learn from this and what's 2.0.
It's going out to parents and it's going out to teachers, staff.
Okay, I'm glad you're doing that. I was going to say I have some feedback from mine and from other people, but I was going to talk to you about that in one of our Thursday meetings.
Right. So we've already talked about, and so whatever you want to give me so I can talk to Anna about it too.
Great, thank you guys. So Redwood City together. So the other one that was not mentioned, obviously, you just talked about, but.
No, she said.
She mentioned it more through the community health, but yeah, so go ahead and talk about, I forgot that we went to the Redwood City together, our last one that we shared.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah,
so-
that's right. It was the last one. Right.
Yeah, so, and I didn't write anything else other than really quick before the meeting, because I always forget. But, again, I'm so, honored to be part of the Redwood City Together committee. And again, thanks to Janet for stepping down and allowing me to, join. So, it was great. Again, the partnerships that they're building, everything that they're doing for our community is just awesome. And I don't know if you want to say anything else, because again, I didn't write all this stuff.
I think because we just had the presentation.
Then it was, yeah.
I mean, they concentrated on the PACE program and a few other collaboratives, but I think you just heard about some of that, right? At the
When he came to present.
it was, I thought it was another good meeting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Lots going on.
For sure. And then the other thing that I participated as well as Dr. Baker was our last October 13 Hispanic Heritage Month speaker series. That was a panel of all high school students from La Honda Pescadero all the way down to Jefferson Union High School District, San Mateo, Sequoia,
And Jessica Cabrillo was.
Cabrillo. And so it was a group of 5 girls, I believe. All girls for whatever reason, maybe just the boys didn't sign up. And one of the things that kind of made me feel a little, taking deep breaths, and a lot of teachers and superintendents, assistant soups were there. And so they actually said they would take back and revisit some of the things. All the girls that kind of had in common was they all want to go to college, but have some barriers. They will apply for 4 years, but perhaps go to a community college. Again, community college is free, so that would be a plus. And so a lot of the information that they talked about was being raised by some of them single parents. And so that makes it even harder too. It was actually really nice to hear from them. And then we had another speaker, Professor Uyola, I forget how you pronounce his last name, John from Skyline. And he talked about how he incorporates with his curriculum law writing, which was very interesting. And he's actually getting his doctorate, and his dissertation talks about law writing. And he explained to us how he started getting involved with law writers and his interest since he was 6 years old. And so it's very, and maybe you could elaborate a little more. I thought it was great. And a lot of the times what he explained is the perception of people in law writing is that we tend to think that it was like the gangsters, and it's not necessarily that they are. They're just like old cars. And so he talked about how he built his own car, like he bought a car and actually took the chainsaw and took the inside of it out and then just built. So it was nice. And then I attended the McKinley Zumbathon. I'm a little out of shape at this time, but I went there for an hour, not for the 2, but it was so nice to see all the ladies participating. And so that was great. So yeah. So that's it for me.
Was that parents or students?
It was, there was a few students, but it was mainly parents. And so the lady that did the class is actually a parent at McKinley, and she works for PAL. So she does the Zumbas at PAL every day. And so she kept on inviting me. And so I'm like, one of these days. And so I'm like, I need to go and support McKinley. And so it was a fundraiser racer for their Yosemite, I believe. I forget. And so it was great. Yes. So that was great. So thank you.
So I think everything was covered. The only thing that wanted to make sure that you're all aware of and to remember is that next week I talked to Peter Ingram, and he has put together kind of an agenda for us for next week on Thursday at 6 o'clock. And so we are getting some slides together ourselves, the timeline, and then I'm getting some talking points as you open up the study session for next week. So just wanted to make sure that, we're all on that.
Did you Zumba?
No, I did not Zumba.
Oh.
I'm sorry. That was on Saturday. You went to that, right? The piece that we went to, what was very interesting with those 5 young ladies, one of them started at Taft with Michelle years ago when Michelle was there, and she is now a senior at Sequoia. She's the one that is a single mom. Mom has 5. She's one of 5. And I thought I wanted to see, well, where else did she go? She goes, well, from here I went to Sacramento, she said, but now we're back. So she only went there for kindergarten, but very much interested in getting into a 4-year college, and does have the grades, but again, it's the financial piece. So your previous teacher, when you were at Sequoia, when she's at Sequoia, she brought her. Yeah, so it's very interesting to listen to their aspirations and their goals, and very articulate, to the point where because their parents, some of them, I think all their parents were there. Some of their siblings, one got really emotional. And so she said, and she had to switch to Spanish, and to say, her brother is actually, I guess, the first one to go to college, and he's at NYU. So she has a pathway, but it was really interesting to listen to their journeys and where they are, where they've been, and where they are now. And I thought I heard, maybe with the exception of one, all their DACA kids, except for one.
I want to say one of them is the DACA, but I don't know that all the other ones.
Okay, all right.
Like regular.
Okay, okay, because I know when we were listening, Amy, God, Amy's last name, Wolver, who's the superintendent at La Honda Pescadero, was saying, well, they're DACA students, so there are these other avenues for the finances for them. So that's what she stayed a while to talk to some of them to make sure that they knew about that, to go in that direction. So, but it was very interesting to listen to their stories, you know, them moving forward. And the other piece about the professor incorporates this whole lowrider phenomenon into his coursework, and how they're not gangsters. It's a family. It's really a family, and a way to embrace one another's culture and the way that one lives, but also to support one another, not only but mentally, but also if there was a need for some assistance, whether it be with some rent or a need because there's an emergency in the family, you gather around your support system, and this is their support system. So he wanted to take away that stigma of it being something of, you know, drugs and alcohol and all that business. So I think he was very well spoken himself. Yeah, so great.
Thank you. So moving on to information items. 11.1 is the quarterly William report. Are there any questions? 11.2 is River City School District review of Connect Community. Well, I guess 11.2, 3, and 4. So they're Connect, KIPT, and Rocket Ship. Were there any questions about their audited actuals? Okay, thank you. And then so 11.5, it's contract update information and credit card summary. No questions either. Thank you very much. Thank you, Rick, and your department. And then correspondence.
Oh, yeah,
I've been in correspondence with a community member that has concerned about unhoused individuals and encampments near Hoover School, and he's convinced it's on our school property. We had Martin go out, and Martin says it's not on our school property. So anyway, I'm just kind of going around and around, but maybe I'll try to go over there and take a look myself. But anyway, we think it's city property, but so you might hear something about it.
Yeah, I talked to Martin again tonight. He says
it's not on our school property. Yeah. So maybe I'll try to refer him over to somebody at the city.
I don't know if who's the assistant manager now? Have they hired someone?
They have. Okay, that's probably good. I saw Melissa tonight, but I don't want to bother her. She's got enough stuff going on as a city manager. I'll figure out somebody to refer him to. Okay. I think that was.
Yeah, and I think the other one, I believe we all got copied, a parent asking about the extra minimum days. And I know.
Oh, right.
I spoke to John earlier today on our 101, and so that's going to be revisited.
Yeah, so a parent who was concerned about the super minimum days. Yeah, yeah. And I thought the parent did a good job of just kind of outlining concerns and thoughtful suggestions and things. So it was a very respectful letter. Yeah. And helpful. Yeah.
Great, thank you. And then 13.1, possible other business suggested items. Is there anything? Great. Are there any changes to the board meeting calendar?
not right now. We just have this study session on November 2nd, regular board meeting November 8th, and then there is that closed session November 15th.
Well, thank you. And with that said, it is 9:03. Will someone want to make a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I move we adjourn. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Right.